Oh, yeah, good morning, guys. Good morning. Good day. Good day. Yeah. Top of the morning. Okay, good. This, I want to talk about social media today. I haven't really prepared this. I just came into my head as a topic. I might just do a quick video and come back to it later, and that might be the topic for today's so-called social media. I don't know whoever came up with that particular phrase. But I suppose everyone kind of knows what it means, you know. YouTube is, I suppose, one in a way. Twitter, Facebook, etc., etc. You know. That's what it's become to me. And I don't know, social media. And, I've got a book out there entitled 10 Reasons to Delete All Your Social Media accounts Right Now. It's very tempting in many ways. In one way, it's quite scary because a lot of people are incorporating it into their work. Your whole identity as well, but especially as well, the work is tied up with social media. You know, people are petrified of being banned from, well, no, they might not be petrified of it because they don't really think they can be banned because they don't. But I'm quite enjoying this YouTube, but it's, if you're not enjoying it, if you're using social media, so-called social media, as a you know, if you're obsessed with likes, I couldn't care less. So I like the fact that, you know, my number, well, so I want to say, everyone I spoke, I don't know, no, it's not true. People are living their lives with the thought about how it plays out on social media. It's become that pernicious. People are what? They can't walk around without a phone, a smartphone attached to their hand. I mentioned this before. And that's to do with social media. They're not making phone calls. The main reason I carry a phone is to make a phone call. One of them, and my music. I was thinking about linking with the football as well. I did a little post on football the other day, and one of the just tested one, two, yeah, just tested I think it was one of the American team, one of the US team that said I don't know if they deleted all their social media or they kind of suspended all their social media. They didn't look at any social media while they were at the finals in France. I think it's last year. I can't believe it was just last year. It seems like years ago. I think it was just last year. I've been rewatching some of it, but anyway, whenever it was, I think it was 2019 in France. I'm pretty sure it was. I think so. It's even less than a year ago, the World Cup. Is that? I mean, less than like 12 months ago. Is that right? Anyway, in football, the secret is to look to the next game. Just one game ahead. The next game, that's the next game, and then the next game. Supposedly the secret, isn't it? Anyway, so yeah, she one of the US team, she said she just, I don't know how exactly what she did with her social media. I don't think she probably deleted everything, like literally. But and they're the team that won it. I mean, I'm not saying that particular reason is the reason why. I'm not saying that, but I think you almost wonder if they're on the pitch, the players, and they're thinking, "Oh, how's this going to play out on Instagram? So what abuse am I going to get on Instagram or on Twitter if I do that?" I mean, the captain of England, I didn't realise she was an Arsenal player before she was Man City's Steph Harton, so I have to kind of look at her in a slightly different light, but which is a bit prejudiced, but anyway, she missed the penalty, and and they're saying at the time, why, she's a captain, she step up, penalty, but she's a defender. It's not really, she can take penalties, no doubt, but why didn't one of the strikers step up and take the penalty? And then the black girl, she's been taking penalties and they've been saved. Nakita Paris, she was. Just digressing on the football, I think with that football team, the England squad in particular, they've got a group of players there. Yeah, this Phil Neville, I think he's resigned now. He's resigning after the next tournament, or he's resigning sometime. Anyway, I don't know. He wants to be the Olympic manager, this, that, and the other. But what I saw a very good thing in the one of the papers on it, but it's probably the Eye because it's the one I get really. But he's good on the pastoral side of things, the sort of getting the group of players sort of getting maybe their confidence up, or I don't know what. He's good on that side of things that side, but in the kind of the I don't know what's the bad side that he's got. My point is he's just chopping and changing every single game. He's chopping and changing, and he thinks it's like, oh, he's giving the players all a chance. No, that's a strange thing, really. I understand, like it's like in a league, you're not always going to play the same squad, the same team. You're going to give players a rest. But that doesn't mean that you kind of have in your mind you're pretty much your first 11 or your first maybe 13 players that you're kind of in your head. But he seems to have 22 players in his head. And not really, and wants to just try and mingle them all together as a whole squad. But I think in sport, it's like I watch horse racing. I used to watch horse racing a lot when there was the season, and it's very much to do with who's in form, and you've got to choose players who are in form, your best players, and who are in form, and you've got to work out who they are and go with that. And if there's a drop off in form, okay, you've got to drop them for a bit, probably. You know, there's no good plan to keep on. And you tell them, you just say, right, you know, your form's like a little bit out. We've got to bring someone in because we've got to keep winning, but it doesn't mean that you're, you know, you're out of the picture. We're not dropping you. We're just playing someone else for the moment until your form is regained. And if the player can accept that, good. But he's sort of thinking there's 22 players. Yeah, they're all good players, no doubt. His squad is good. It's great to have a good squad. And the whole thing about a squad is you've got players who are going to push the other players to but I still think you've got to have in your mind, you pretty much, you know, who's the first set of players on your team sheet, you know. And he's got ones that I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not going to go into the particular details of this video, but no, anyway, that's a digression, but it is linked with this point about the social media, well, it's not. And again, and he's on Twitter first and abuse probably, and you know, like Twitter abuse and Instagram and all the rest of it. I don't know what he's on. I don't know what he's on. He probably is. I don't know. He might not be. I haven't even looked. I think on my Twitter I've literally got one blue tick person that I follow actually, or maybe I don't think I follow any football players. I might follow, I'm not sure. So I mean, no, I think just say you got like a regular job, like so just pick any job at random. I mean, one of my old jobs was a postman or a nursing assistant. So if I'm a nursing assistant, yeah, I'm not going to be twittering every time I do something like that. I just don't get it. I'm a bit older. It's a generational thing. There is that. People who've born, maybe new millennial people, they've been born into this world of always on digital media, always on. They've been growing up. They've been growing up with a phone in their hands from the age of 2 or something, or a tablet. I've seen these kids tablet. They don't know what a book is. Probably they probably never even had a book in their hands until even the schools they get rid of books. Everything is electronic. The thing I like about YouTube is the original idea of it when it come out, which is about I'm not sure when it came out and it got taken over pretty rapidly by Google. They realized it was a very powerful thing. YouTube, everyone was, well, not everyone. I mean, it was like the growth. They probably looked at the growth numbers. But the original thing with YouTube was it was like it's your TV station. It's like your ordinary person in a way, or anyone just doesn't have you don't have to go ordinary and call it. Joe Blogs. It's Joe Blogs on the soapbox, or it's sort of reimagining the traditional TV situation. something like it. Back in the day, there was something called MySpace, which I had an account. I think I had an account, but I wasn't really into it. I wasn't really. What else was it? There was things. There was other things. I don't know if America Online was like a social media of some sort. They gave away. This was back in the early 2000s, I think. They gave away or even earlier. They gave away like discs to get onto the internet. And similar, there was MSN, MSN, Microsoft Network. They change all the time, these things. It's a sort of communication tool. But now, it's the Facebook, Instagram, it's the Instagram, maybe, I don't know what this Insta famous thing, and Twitter as well. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. There's other ones now, TikTok. I haven't explored that one. I don't exactly know what that is. There was something called Bebo, which I've never explored. What else? There was a thing called Friends Reunited, and that got bought by ITV, and that just seemed to peter out totally. It felt, just completely Friends Reunited. But again, like something like MySpace was it was a bit like a digital scrapbook, something a bit like the YouTube, I think, where you had your channel, your page, or pages, I think, and you could put like what music you're into, and you could sort of, it was a bit like a mini website or something, and you seem to be in control of it in a way. But then the Murdoch company bought it out, and it went, it went after that. It just, and the Facebook, the actual, I might have mentioned this in a previous one. The one that sort of woke me up to this sort of whole thing about, there was a film actually called The Social Network, and it's the director, Aaron Sorkin. It's the same director as, I've seen a film by the other man, and I read, oh, that's him, he's made that film, I'm going to watch this. I can't exactly remember now, but he made that film, The Social Network. I think it was called that, The Social Network. And it was based on a book about Facebook and how it was originally, it was like it was Zuckerberg and someone else, and I think someone else came up with the idea, and Zuckerberg was sort of tagged in on it. And it was like it was something about sending pics between, Harvard. I can't remember. I've read it and I've seen the film. It's a very recommended film and book. And it was originally called. What was it originally called? It was called The Facebook or the Self. Anyway, you can read all about this. And you can't say too much because they come on you with probably a ton of bricks of libel or something. They've got thousands of lawyers, bodyguards, and all sorts, And interestingly, he is he's Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg, who's the CEO? What his particular title is? I think he's the CEO or something. And he owns all the shares, basically. Not all of them, but he owns he owns a lot of shares in Facebook, and they're going to put them into a foundation with his wife, and it's supposedly charity, but is it charity? Because it's a foundation that he controls, and so again, and again, the fact is he's Jewish, but it's not the fact that he's Jewish that I like to delve into what's going on. There's this conspiracy thing. Jewish people control the media, blah 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 blah. The fact is he's Jewish, but it's not that fact. No, I'm trying to get the point. I don't care if he's what he is. I'm talking about what he's doing, who this guy is, and what he's doing. I'd like to meet him and really grill him, really get him in a room for 1 hour and grill him. And he won't come to UK because he's been summoned. I mentioned this. He's been summoned to the UK Parliament. He won't come to the UK because he won't face a grilling because he knows he's going to be grilled here. They're a bit more clued up in this. I mean, although it's a Tory guy who was the head of the committee, that it's not really the point. That the point is in these committees they make sure that they get a bit of expertise. In America, it was absolute joke beyond belief. These senators questioning the Facebook executives. The Facebook people, and they were just running rings around them. It was absolute. I watched that one. There was that one, and there was the Twitter guy, Dorsey. He's a bit more, I'd say, open because he went on a program that Josh Rogan, is it? Something like that. Joe Rogan. It's like an American guy, and he has like 3-hour-long interviews with people. And he came on with this is Dorsey from Twitter, he came on with his sidekick in quotes. No, she's not sidekick, she's probably more intelligent than him. She's a smart cookie, obviously, to be working at the top of Twitter. She's, and again, Facebook's put a woman in charge of, so what's her name, Sheryl Sandberg or something, in charge of Facebook. Twitter is a woman there who was with him. And but to actually go on that program, and he doesn't really hold back in his questions so much, that guy. Whereas I've not seen Zuckerberg on like, he's always in a very controlled environment. He's giving a lecture, or I don't really see him very much. There was some that was on stage, but again, the audience is. That's a company I advise people to be very wary in getting too much of their work, if you want, tied up with that company. If you shouldn't be scared of being deleted by Facebook, because it is scary. I had an experience with Facebook. I took some photos of Trump when he was on TV, like a photo of the TV screen, because I haven't been to have an audience with the president. So I'm taking photos on the TV of the president, and it was a bit of a project of mine. I was thinking, well, every president that comes now, I'll take photos. It's the American president, US president. And because the president it's two roles in a way. There's one is a political. It's like in the UK, our head of state and our head of political affairs are split between the monarch and the prime minister. America, that's the thing is it's combined. He's the head of state and he's the political boss, So I said to Facebook, look, I'm taking these photos of Trump, and I tried to sell them in America. I went through. I was on Facebook. This is part of the deal. This scheme I'm on. I'm on a government scheme. I'll be honest. I'm on a government scheme. This is government. It's a scheme. It's not really the government. It's the Department of what do they call it? Employment Department. It's a state-run scheme. It's a state-run scheme, if you want. Not necessarily government. It's more to do with it's the crown in a way. they pay out the money. Anyway, it's a state-run scheme, and you get like in like help in not really so much financial, but initially a little bit of financial help, but it's tapered. It's only a year, and it's tapered down, and you're getting probably less than it's about the same as just like a unemployment benefit, literally like sort of fairly basic income, basically. Just given a basic income and some help and advice and so on, how to set up your own business and do your own business stuff like this for a year. So, and one of the things was is one of my advisor in the one of my advisors is telling me um he's telling me go and go and put yourself out on social media, right? And so I'm familiar with Twitter. I'm familiar with YouTube, or not in terms of the broadcasting. I'm only literally just sort of starting to get into that in this last week or so, really. Um, Familiar with Twitter. Um, Facebook and Instagram were new to me, I think. And what else is there? What was the other name? Anyway, right. So I go on Facebook. I've got my photo. This is just, it's not the only person I take photographs, obviously. Got my photographs of Trump, and now they've got a system. You can choose, you can really hone down your audience. That's the thing, isn't it? On Facebook, they've got micro details of where everyone lives, basically, what they're into, what their hobbies are, they know everything about it. They know more about you than you, type of thing. That sort of, it's a bit like a Google, that sort of joke. Google knows more about me than my wife, or something. That's sort of joke or whatever. So I start to Facebook. I say I don't say anything to them. I just type in the thing, this photo I have, and I say, right, I'm going to do limited print. So I really can't remember now. I had it all. So I said, right, I've got photos. It's black and white. I turned it into black and white. It's pretty much black and white. So monochrome, call it. Got this photograph of Trump, and it's quite a neutral. It's I wouldn't call it neutral. It's not like a sort of. I'm trying to be a relatively journalistic. I mean, I didn't want to kind of try and sort of let on in any way if I was pro-Trump, anti-Trump, neutral. I just wanted to be just try and keep it relatively sort of politics free, just sort of as a head of state in one way. I know he's obviously very politically divisive, obviously. But anyway, and the one thing is with portraits, they say that a portrait, when you take a portrait of someone else, it's a kind of a reflection of yourself as well. It's similar when you sort of anyway, maybe someone going to work, whatever. Anyway, taking a dog out, who knows what they do in this. Anyway, right. So, what else? What was that? It's quiet this morning. Listen to this. Very quiet today. You hear this? Testing 1, 2. Yeah, see? car now, a van. So I put the parameters in. I tried because you can micro target in your advertising. This is the thing. It's not like TV or radio where you're sort of what do they call it? Spray and pray or something, some military metaphor. I don't know, but it's not. Well, it's not spray and pray in a way because you can target obviously. Anyway, that's a whole different subject, which I'm not. It's linked. Anyway. The point was, right, I put this photo and I said, right, I want to advertise to people in the maybe DC area and people in America who are, what was it? What did I put? Did I put Republicans? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know if they have that parameter. This was the whole thing. But with the thing with fixing elections and that, where the Facebook were involved in that, and they have parameters that this Cambridge Analytica and all this stuff that can, anyway, that's a different subject as well. Anyway, the thing was, the photo got rejected. Political advertising or something not accepted. Okay. Well, I didn't see it as political advertising. It's not really a photo that. I saw it as a photo that you would put in a portrait gallery or something. It wasn't. It's not a campaign photo. There was an image of Obama, which they turned into. You remember that in the first 2008 or 2007 campaign? I think it was when he got inaugurated. 2008, 2007 campaign. There was a famous image of Obama, I think, with the stars and stripes, and they turned him into stars and stripes or something profile. It wasn't that. It really wasn't that. It was just a black and white, but it was being pixelated in a way that I think I'd made it sort of like a not pixelated, but just photography. It was photoshopped in a way, but not photoshopped. It wasn't doctored, but it was just sort of a monochrome, taking out a lot of the details. And anyway, they banned it. They didn't allow it, and I think they even shut down my account. They went to they did that as well. They say I'm not verifying my identity properly, not using my proper name and bullshit. This very difficult to get address. So you try and find an address of Facebook in the UK. Try and find an address of Facebook in the UK or a phone number. Try and get a phone number to ring someone in the UK of Facebook. It's very, very difficult. Or even an address. And so that woke me up to that company. There's no address, there's no phone number, it's who is this company? Who are they? Who's this company? It's $1 billion company, and what they're saying, they're trying to become so ubiquitous, everything they want going through there, and even trying to set up their own currency, right? So that you have to have an account to kind of live. And so that gives them the power to ban people. A private company has the power over everyone's life, because, like they're saying, this is the point. This is what woke me up. Someone made the point. I can't remember. It was very perceptive, and I tweeted it on my Twitter. I retweeted this because it was so clever, so important point. If you want to rent a flat, rent a house, the landlord is going to be looking at your Facebook account. They want to do it through Facebook. Everything has to go through Facebook. So hence the campaign delete Facebook. Ironically enough, I've actually just recently rejoined Facebook on my phone, although that phone now I've disabled the taking the SIM card out. Yeah, no, Facebook, it wants access to everything, and it's, and it wants to control everything, basically, really. It's a very controlling kind of company. He wanted to be president, actually. He went, obviously, I think, pretty much, because he went on a tour of all the states of America that come leading up to this. I mean, we're coming up to a campaign, that's why this, we're in the campaign here, aren't we? Well, this is, if there wasn't this other story going on now, this would be the main story that we're not even hearing about. People don't even know who the candidates are, It's been such on the normally there would be wall-to-wall coverage of the candidate, but I think it's Biden, but he's going to get wiped out, I reckon. If it's going to be him, then anyway, that's the difference in it. He might not. He might wipe the other guy out. So that's the difference. I'm not even going to go there at all. But sticking on that, the first one, I've lost my train of thought. And once you get onto politics, you set me up on that. That's something I could talk literally all day on. But, on Facebook, and they buy Instagram as well now. They're a bit like the Google. That any company that is challenging them, they'll buy them. Instagram, that was challenging Facebook, it was getting much more viewers. Like growth and that, and the youth, the so-called, that's the demographic they want. Facebook is for the young people now. It's seen as like it's your mum or even your granddad or some grandma checking up on. Not checking up, but just checking in on what you're doing. That's how I think how the teenagers or what the younger people see Facebook now. It's like just a scrapbook that they're willing to show their grandparents. So it's not going to be really filtered. It's sort of like I think that's how it works. I don't really know. I don't go on fast, but I did go on it for a little bit actually. It was fun. So it was sort of like chatting with this bird now, and it was like fun. It was quite fun, but I'm very skeptical of this company. But so that's my advice. Don't get your work too tied up with an American, especially a US social media company. But their ultimate parent is in the US. If you live in whichever country you live in, maybe you're living in the US, then you've got more kind of maybe say over what goes on in a US company. But like I say, the head won't even dare to step foot. And this is a reason, isn't it? He's not going to get put in a dungeon, is he? When he comes here, he's not going to. It's not like he's going to some. You can think of many different countries that he might be scared of going to and not returning from. But the UK, well, I mean, I don't understand it really. I really don't understand why this guy is so scared of coming to the UK. He stepped foot in the UK and he'll be arrested. He's potentially, unless he comes to the parliament, he will be arrested. So he has got a warrant. He's got a warrant on him. The head is. So this is what I'm saying. The head of this social media company, which many people in the world are on and relying on for their work, he has a warrant out for his arrest. It's quite an interest, sort of, you can't, it'd be liable to call them a criminal enterprise, but that is actually what the head of parliament not the head of the parliament, the head of the committee in the UK, they call it that organisation. They call it a criminal organisation, I think, something like that. Or words to that effect, in a way. So there you go. Well, I was thinking about this. I was thinking that this is going back to the football, but it's linked with the social media. I was thinking, right, if I got, say I was a manager of a team, all right, going into a tournament, right, you know, say it was like a high profile tournament, like a World Cup or an Olympics, or over here we have in the women's football, there's four main tournaments. I think we have well, in Europe, there's four main tournaments, like international tournament. We have the World Cup, obviously, which is the number one, I suppose. Olympics, and again, well, that's a kind of I mean, to have a gold medal, Olympic gold medal is obviously, as a footballer, I think, wow. So World Cup, Olympics, you have, well, in England, in England, I say we, because I'm not saying I'm hardcore for England, as if I was going to play for some. But anyway, there's the She Believes Cup. I mean, maybe Scotland might get invited to that soon. That'd be interesting. Scotland, England, Spain, and then the US. That would be an interesting one. Anyway, oh, I was thinking about this. If I was manager of an international football team, I could have that one. We have World Cup, Olympics, She Believes, and we have the Euro equivalent. All right, there's four main international competitions. I think the She Believes is every year. Is it? It's the She Believes every year, and the other ones are on the cycle every 4 years. Because the She Believes is only four teams, and so it's just 3 games each. But whereas the other ones are much bigger tournaments. I was thinking, so, well, whichever tournament that She Believes is a bit more of a fun thing, maybe, but the other ones are, especially the World Cup and the Euro, they're traditionally like the big ones. The Olympics is interesting because you actually get, I suppose you get to actually get an Olympic gold medal, that's a kind of a legendary thing as well. You think about it. But a minute, so we had 22 minutes. We're still broadcasting. I know. Cut off so far. YouTube haven't cut me off. My social media is still surviving. Oh my God, I'll live. Blasphemy. Anyway, OMG, I still have YouTube. I can survive another day. No, so I was thinking, if I was manager of a team, what would my strategy be going into a competition, right? There's like two kind of like funny things. No, I'm not talking about on the pitch now. I'm talking about two quite funny things off the pitch. Because I remember back in the day, there was a famous tournament. I don't know if it was a World Cup or a European. And it was the WAGs. It was the WAGs, which is such a sort of, I don't know if it's a sexist term, but it is sexy. It was probably coined by the Sun or something. But it was like a fun thing that I think Sven-Göran Eriksson, he's a Swedish manager, and the English team, they're stationed in Germany, I think, and I can't remember if it was a World Cup or the Euros. This is the men football team, and his thing, he's allowing the WAGs to come along. I don't know if they're sleeping together, or the WAGs anyway come along to the country, and the whole media is going crazy about these WAGs, which is wives and girlfriends. I mean, I suppose they could these days. It could be wives, girlfriends, and boyfriends. Wagabs. Well, that's the funny thing is that that's another story anyway about footballers coming out and the rest of it. I mean, that's a question as well. That's another question you could add into this too. This is sort of a bit of a fun question. What the policy on that is. Anyway, the fun question is for that one. You know, what's your policy on allowing, you know, whatever, like sexual partners, if you want. I don't know if you put it like that. However you want to put it. Along with the I don't know how you want to put it, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you want to say. So that's one question. With the women, I always think it's a bit, is it because they're obviously some of the women that they might go out with each other and it's like roomies or something, and so obviously then there could be speculation about that. But these days it comes back to social media because back in the day when that come out, when that World Cup or European Cup, whichever it was on, it was all TV and radio. There was very little so-called social media. Maybe there was mobile phones and that, but it wasn't really, Facebook status or this sort of stuff. I can't remember which year that World Cup was, but it was a massive media scrum, paparazzi scrum on like I think it was the time when this so-called Posh and Becks brand, which is like Victoria Adams was originally in the Spice Girls. She got married with David Beckham, and they became Posh and Becks. And I think there was a previous European tournament, and he was like in a sarong or something. It was hilarious. It must have been 96 or something, around then, either 96 or 98. And then I think maybe 2000, there was the WAGs, so-called WAGs. Sven Goran Eriksson, he let the WAGs come along, but I don't exactly know. I don't really. I do look at quite a few reality TV shows and things like that. I do find it quite. I was watching the Kardashians. That's a guilty pleasure if you want, the Kardashians. And I'm talking about that, the Geordie Shore. I do like that one as well. But it's not something that I like. The French attitude of you keep your private life fucking private and your work life work. That French, and that's being broken down gradually, But I think President Mitterrand is president of France. I think it only came out later that he was having an affair or something. I don't even know. I didn't even read it. I just seen headline or something. I'm not interested in what he does in his bed. President Mitterrand. It's not really, it's crazy. But these days, the thing is it's like these sex tapes and this sort of thing, and blackmail and stuff like this, and it's just the thing is the deep fake is coming along. I've mentioned this before, and it's such a toxic mix. Social media and the deep fake. You can imagine, literally that, and the newspaper will print it. I don't know how much they're going to checking it, because there was the other one, all sorts. How much they actually check the story. You know, I mean, there's the pressures of deadlines. They've got lawyers and stuff and checking it, but they don't really care. They print the story, they make billions and billions from the story, and then if someone has got the you know the the wherewithal, the money, and to sue them, well, they might. And certain they get sued and they have a payout, but they're on to the next case in this paper, this country, that's part of free press. We like a free press, you know what I mean? It's so important. If they're abusing it, it's not good. Have to check their sources and check that it's a proper story, and if it's a fit story in a way, what they're going to print. Person X is wearing X colored, Y colored underwear today. Is that fit story? A free press can allegedly print that, but is that a story that's fit for printing? Anyway, so if a girl wants to show her underwear, so be it. But I don't think a newspaper shouldn't be. That's not really the business of a newspaper. I'm rambling now, but there is a serious point to all this. The deep fake, right? The deep fake, and there'll be some deep fake of you just President X has sex with royalty Y, right? And it's a deep fake. Some computerized program has taken faces of whoever and fact it all together from some pornographic video or something, right? And they put on the facts or they do the realistic. It's so realistic that all the limb movements, everything is, they're computer generated. They've taken millions of images from the computer of a particular person in the public eye, and they fake it all together. They take that to the newspaper. Look at this tag. Do you want to run this? And they go and run it. Right? They might not. If it's a president, they might be a bit more scared. But some celebrities, all right, so-called celebrities, which is a term I don't really like. There it is. It's there. Celebrity culture. It's very vacuous. I don't want to know what they're celebrating. I mentioned this before. What are they being celebrated for? What kind of pubic hair they've decided to do this week. You know what I mean? But no. Can you imagine? Deep fake. It's so and it's just a race. It's a technological race. You have computer programs that are analyzing that are analyzing whether a particular video is a fact, and so there's sort of one step, no, that is it's crazy. It's crazy. If your face is on the internet, which it most likely is, most people upload that videos and photos to the internet. This is going very back to the beginning of where I started. 10 reasons for deleting your social media right now. Well, that could be one of them. You want your face off the fucking internet, because your face and your body movement can all be generated into a deep fake, and you better be prepared for this. That you're going to be in, you can be put into like a pornographic video. You got to be prepared for that. That's the fact of it. That you can be faked into it, like a fake video. A computer generated video that's very realistic of your body movements. There you go. And it's the plus. This is always a thing with technology. It's like fire. It's like that's a primal thing, isn't it? Fire. It can be used for, heat, sitting around the hearth, or it can be used for burning a house down. There you go. Technology. Okay, I'm gonna end it there, guys. On that note, I'm gonna come back to this subject. This might be the subject for the day. I don't know. Might not be. It might be. That might be it for this. Might go on to a different subject. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm trying to get out of here without, because it's gonna be fucking banned if I. Oh, let's get out of this. But turn this off. Yeah.